From Everybody Studios, we're jumping off the pages of Southpark Magazine as we bring the stories to life that make up the art and soul of Charlotte. This is Southpark Says with Krisha Chachra. Well, tune in, turn it up, and take a seat. We are talking about the art scene here in Charlotte, where to buy great art and how to support local artists. This is episode 8 of Southpark Says with Krisha Chachra. Joining me in Everybody Studios today is Judith Zehmke. She's the founder of Art House Charlotte, an in-home art gallery in Southpark, and Shefalee Patel, a community connector and founder of Namaste Artists CLT and Cultural Connections by Shefalee. Thank you, ladies, so much for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Really glad that you can make it. So we wanted to talk to you both because you are the experts in your field here in Charlotte. You've done so much with artists and supporting artists and amplifying artists. And this is actually our art issue in Southpark Magazine, August 2025. You can still pick them up wherever you get Southpark Magazine. We did a feature on Judith, and I learned so much about Art House Charlotte. And then, of course, Shefalee, I've written several pieces about you since I've moved to Charlotte. But really, we just need to talk about like how this vibrant art scene has started and where it's going in Charlotte. So tell me, ladies, a little bit about why you're interested in art, how you got into it, and we'll go from there. So Judith, give us some kind of idea about your background and how you got started in the art scene here.
Sure. When I lived in Honolulu, I worked for a man named Thurston Twig Smith III, and he was an art collector. He started the Contemporary Museum of Art in Honolulu, which has since been absorbed by the Museum of Art.
Oh, yeah. I remember because I used to live there. So,
oh, did you?
Yeah, I used to live in Honolulu. I taught at the university. But
that's amazing.
I remember that. So that was his.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, he started the Contemporary Museum of Art in Makiki Heights in House. And so that's where I worked. I worked in his house in Diamond Head, but then the curations and all that were distributed through the island. He actually didn't have a storage facility. He just owned houses, air-conditioned houses where he would keep the art. Yeah.
Which is a big commodity.
Oh, yeah. Well, but when I got back to the mainland, I wanted to buy some art, and I just couldn't find anything that I could afford. So when I moved up from Jacksonville, Florida to Charlotte, that's when I realized that I really couldn't afford anything because everything was more expensive up here. And so I started with 2 Florida-based artists. I started selling their work up here. And there was just kind of a hole in the market. And since then, the landscape has changed a lot, and there's just so much good art and so many talented artists here in Charlotte. And unfortunately, because we don't have a rent-controlled arts district, there's not a concentrated space for everyone to show their work.
Yes. And that's where you come in because they can use your home. So we'll definitely talk about how you have been able to showcase so many artists throughout the years, because you've been doing it for 17 years, and that's a long time.
Yes.
And Shefalee, do you know about Art House Charlotte? And, tell me a little bit about your background.
Yeah, so thank you again for having me here, and this is an amazing opportunity. I've been part of the Charlotte art scene since maybe 2010, 2011, but it's still growing, expanding. I love being able to share and showcase the arts and culture here in Charlotte, and I like to do that personally through my art and dance, but also collectively I'm part of the Guild of Charlotte Artists. I was their past president. I'm currently on their board. We're about 440 members, which is amazing. We're the oldest arts organization in Charlotte, established in 1948. So we just celebrated 78 years, I have to do my math, but 77 years.
77 years.
Yeah, and just being able to provide community, provide opportunities for our members to exhibit, to share, to showcase, to learn, to come to our meetings. We start in September and we go until May, and we like to have new speakers come in and share about whether it's techniques or how to label or how to get your website going, but being able to help the art community.
Well, I think that's really great because, when we think about artists' colonies, or you were talking about earlier how artists flock to rent control areas that really do allow them to work without worrying about where to live, where to shop, where to eat. we don't necessarily think about Charlotte when it comes to North Carolina. We think about Asheville. At least, that comes to mind. Or there's some other art cities across the country, like Santa Fe, for instance.
Mm-hmm.
So why do you think why do you think that Charlotte attracts artists, first of all? And then tell me a little bit about what the city does to support them. And help them grow.
You're right. We don't have a specific area, but we have like the Vapa Center. We have Dilworth Artisan Station. We have areas. And unfortunately, Charlotte is one of the fastest growing cities right now. I think it's 125 people.
Last I read, it was like 167.
Yeah, a day moving into Charlotte.
Yeah. And where are these people going?
Yeah. They're all moving in to these apartments.
I was going to say, hopefully they're populating those apartments that keep going up.
That's right.
And they need to buy some art. So I'm like, don't buy TJ Maxx art. Buy local art. Get to know the artists. Get to know, their stories and their backgrounds. And, we have some amazing museums and opportunities, these festivals that we have with Charlotte International Arts Festival, with Charlotte Shout, to be able to give artists and creatives a lot of exposure here in Charlotte.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Yeah, I mean, whenever someone comes to my office looking for art, I try to provide them with all of the other places that they can look, And so it's not like when I first started, the majority concentration of artists were in NODA,
That's
and
where they
so
kind of
that's where they flocked. That's where they could afford studio space. And then, everyone kind of left NODA and went to South End, and they were there for a while. And then South End, obviously we know what's happened with South End. Then they went up to Camp North End. And so that's kind of where they are. Charlotte Art League used to be in South End. So, I mean, there are numerous opportunities to see great art all throughout Charlotte. You just have to know where to look. So when people come to me, I'll say, hey, have you checked out, Camp North End? Have you gone to the Dilworth Artisan Station? Have you gone to, have you gone on a gallery crawl? Like there's so many things to do, but there's just not like one source where you can just see it all. Actually a good idea.
Yeah, maybe you guys can create
together.
that right now.
Yeah.
But is that kind of what the guild is supposed to be, Shefalee? You mentioned you were the past president, and I think you were the president, if I recall, because I remember doing an article on this, when you celebrated 75 years.
You did, yes. And thank you for that. It was an amazing celebration. Yeah, it was 23, 24 that I was a president.
Okay.
But you're right. And the guild is just helping give a lot of exposure and providing exhibit space, and our website is amazing. Our Instagram is rocking. We share everything that our members do, which helps give a lot of exposure. Because, we're back in the day, artists had to carry that portfolio, right? And like, this is my artwork. Well, and I tell people, Instagram is that new portfolio. This is where you have to kind of showcase what you're doing, share, so that people can just kind of click your name and find out what you're doing. There's websites, Art in the QC. The Charlotte Regional Visitors Authority is also helping share the arts in the community. The McCall Center, Vapa Center, Charlotte is Creative. Art Pop. Art Pop is doing amazing, but Charlotte is Creative really helps all creatives, whether you're a comedian or dancer or musician, to be able to share and let people know what's going on.
Yeah, I think I need to have those two gentlemen on at one point in time to talk a little bit about that. But yeah, if you're a new artist that has come into Charlotte, and you ladies obviously are dialed in, you're mentioning all these different art museums, art happenings, you mentioned an art walk. Where does someone new, one of those like 150 people or so that come in every day, where do they go if they want to try to actually find out what's going on, if they don't have the privilege of meeting both of you within the first few weeks of living here?
I feel like they're just going straight to the internet and they're Googling art in Charlotte, and they're probably getting results for me, for, the Guild, for North End. I have people come to me all the time who are new in Charlotte, and they're artists. And all they want to do is just pick my brain. Like, where do I start? What do I do? How do I sell art in the city? What are the prices to sell art in the city? And so I provide as much information as I can, education to the artists and to the people who are buying art. But most of the people who come to me are either word of mouth or they are Googling.
They're Googling you.
Yeah.
They're just Googling art in Charlotte, period.
Art in Charlotte, yeah. Or art in the QC. There's actually a website, and she puts together an amazing calendar of all the visual art events going on in Charlotte, specifically visual art. So if you're a visual artist, that's a great way to find out what's going on. And Arts Plus with that whole church takeover and how they've done an amazing, they've, taken a space and allowed studio space, exhibit space to come in. Yeah, you're right. I could just keep listing all the places, but it is like where to start. But I think we're all still in that same boat. And all I say is show up, come to events, share, be excited for other people, come to markets and get to see and meet artists, because artists are great at helping other artists.
They really are.
There's no like one button works for somebody, because you might be a fine artist, you might be a sculpturist, you might be a pottery person, but what works for me may not work for you. And the space and the clientele that maybe you're used to if you come from another city, or maybe you're just getting, this is your first time, or this might be for a lot of people, it's your second chapter in life where, hey, I was a data programmer for 25 years and now I want to pursue my watercolor. So I think maybe the Guild or the Charlotte Art League, those are good ways to kind of get community and then decide, do I want to exhibit? Do I want studio space? Do I want to have somebody else help me sell my stuff? There's different avenues.
Right. Find your place as an artist by actually surrounding yourself by artists.
Yes.
And there are a lot. And there's not just one place. I mean, that's what I'm kind of getting from both of you, is that there's so many different opportunities to network with artists that if you miss, like, for instance, a Guild meeting or a Charlotte is Creative meeting, you haven't missed out. You can still go to the market, or you can go to the VAPA
Countless
Center.
options.
Yes.
Yeah. There's so many options.
Well, let's dig a little bit deeper into what the two of you are doing specifically to uplift and amplify the arts. And I got this really cool hat here. Judith, you gave me the Art House Charlotte hat.
That looks good on you.
Yes, I know. It goes with
Nice.
It goes with my outfit, the decor here. It's the white, clean look. So tell me a little bit about Art House Charlotte, and you can also read that in this month's magazine, in this month's issue of Southpark magazine. But how does this work? I mean, people are actually coming to your home to buy local art.
They are.
Yeah, and that's cool with your family.
They don't have a choice. It was born out of necessity. Like, I was really not happy when I first moved here and I couldn't find a place where I could afford to buy art.
Mm-hmm.
So I just created it. And the only place I could afford to do that, because the rent is so high in Charlotte, was in my living room and dining room.
Mm.
So it was born out of necessity. But what I've found is that people love to come to my house. It's casual, you can come as you are. You can, I've had people bring their little lap dogs. I've had people bring, there's always a baby involved in some way, shape, or form.
People are coming straight from the gym.
Yeah. So, it's just an opportunity for all of the artists that we just talked about to have a place to showcase their work, to sell their work actively. These are working artists. And their studios are at home, so they're not paying for studio space for the most part. Mm-hmm. And then they bring their finished work to me and I market it and sell it. And so my demographic is, people who are looking for art under $3,000.
Okay.
So I start at $80, I stop at $3,000. And so my pricing stops before gallery pricing starts.
Wow. So you really do open up the market for those of us for some people who might just say, you know what, I can't afford good art. I can't afford it. I really love to support a local artist, but they've kind of priced me out. So you keep it under $3,000. And how many artists do you showcase at a time in your home?
I'm pushing 30 right now.
Really? Mm-hmm. And do they rotate, or?
I have a stable of artists that I've been working with. I mean, some of my artists I've been working with for 15 years. But I also take on guest artists. So people whose work is new and I really like it, but I test market it first to see if everyone else likes it as much as I do. So if I can sell it then, and they're interested in me continuing to sell their work, then I'll take them on as a staple artist.
Okay. So if you're an artist and you want to get into Art House Charlotte, how do you go about doing that?
I have a submission process on my website. So you just basically, it's who are you, and then send me images of your work and what your medium is. And a lot of times I really like a lot of the submissions, but the price point is over what I'm doing. So my business model is very succinct. That's where it stops. And so I've represented some really amazing artists over the years, Marcy Gregg, Janine Medlin, Larry Duke, like all kinds of really great artists, Allison Chambers, and they just kept growing, which is great. That's wonderful. And they moved on to gallery settings, and that's wonderful. But my business is, kind of a full stop 3K.
Yeah. So you've graduated artists from Art House Charlotte.
Oh, I
basically.
mean, they've blown past me,
Wow, that's so cool.
That's just not, it's wonderful for them, but I just am really trying to make sure that, the 23-year-old that just graduated from college or, the newly divorced mom has an outlet to purchase original art should she want to or he want to.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I would imagine, though, that in your home, that and you have these strangers coming in, there's like a limited amount of space. So how does that work out?
So in order to be compliant with the city, I have to be appointment only. In 2015, they did away with having to have a business license for home. But they did have some caveats. So I can't have any employees that come to work every day, which is fine because I am the only employee. I can't have any signage anywhere, not a doormat, nothing on my mailbox, nothing on my car. I can't have any of that. And I have to be appointment only.
Okay.
So you have to make an appointment. And as we discussed before we got in here, I have 4 kids. So it's a little wonky, but I tend to be open Monday through Friday and then normally one Saturday a month. Except for summers when all the kids are back. So, yeah. I'd like to have one person in an hour, but I do also have open art houses where it's 5 people in the space every half hour.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. So it is in a way, I think that in that way, just from sheer necessity, you've built sort of an exclusive sort of environment where people want to come see the art. They have to make an effort. And it shows that kind of weeds out the people who are not so serious, maybe.
Yeah, I don't get a lot of tire kickers. By the time you get to my very nondescript ranch in Mountain Brook, you're serious about buying
you're ready
something.
To buy.
Yeah, and there is
That's good for the artist too.
Oh yeah, there is a lot of. I've been doing this for 17 years, and I know a lot of people in Charlotte. So there's like 1 degree of separation much of the time. Like, oh, I know you because so-and-so, or this client told me about you. So,
it's so interesting. Yeah. That's wonderful. Well, Shefalee, you're an artist yourself, right?
I am, yes. Yeah.
And I do have some original works of Shefalee Patel, so.
Thank you. Thank you for purchasing it. Yes, we appreciate it.
But a lot of your art is sort of, I would say, steeped in the culture and the Indian tradition. And why do you think that's important to showcase in your art?
That's who I am, Krisha. You know me. Who doesn't know me? I'm Shefalee. I'm an artist. I'm a dancer. And I like to be able to share my culture through those 2 mediums. So there's opportunities, whether it's schools or festivals or city events, I'm there. I love to be able to, because I think there's still a lot of like, where are you from? Where are you really from? I get those questions like, hey, Shefalee. And I'm like, I'm from Chicago. They're like, no, but where are you really from? I said, yes, my parents are immigrants from India. They came here in the early 60s. They went to college here, became citizens, and then they eventually had children, which I'm the first child that was born here. But I love to be able to share who I am with my local community. And that's my first priority. But my other thing that I love to do is to be able to cheerlead and showcase artists and creatives here in Charlotte. And I appreciate what you're doing. And I think I do that with my own house. Maybe I should start art house too at my place, because I must have at least 20 different artists, whether I purchased their work, I've been gifted work, my own work. So all my work in our house is all original, whether it's my children's, mine, friends, bought.
When you travel?
When I travel, pick up
that
stuff. Yes, we were in Panama recently, and we were in Spain, and we have pieces from other countries as well in my home. But I love to be able to, again, cheerlead and share and showcase what we have. I think we have something amazing. And we talked about this recently. There was a speaker at Creative Mornings, and he said, no one plans a trip to Charlotte and says, let me visit these amazing banks, right? We are known as the bank capital, second, after New York City. But people come for the museums. They come for our sports. They come for our parks, the Whitewater Center. We offer so much that's going on. Our restaurants are amazing. There's a rumor that Top Chef is coming.
I think they're here now.
Yeah.
That's exciting. I can't wait. I know. I need to get a ticket to Restaurant Wars.
I think we're all kind of
all hoping for
something. Yeah.
Right. But so there's a lot of attraction, and I think it's because, like you both of you ladies were mentioning, is that there's a hub here and there's a celebration aspect amongst the artists to want to, move forward and create an environment where everyone can thrive. But everyone's doing their part with your house and obviously with your art and your cultural connections. So how does that actually, how does it work that you have really kind of dialed into the South Asian community? Because we were talking about traditional, South Asian life. And I too, I'm a daughter of immigrants, the first one.
Mm-hmm.
My parents came here in the 60s as well. And there weren't a lot of artists. There weren't many creatives. There was no one doing talk shows. There was no one writing.
Yes.
We were all the stereotypical doctor, engineer, lawyer,
Yes.
and scientist. I can throw that one in.
Yeah.
But now you have an organization that aims to really amplify the artwork of South Asian women especially.
Yeah.
How, I didn't know we had that many. How does that work?
Well, it came out of the Festival of India. We were always the visual artists at the festival, and we loved to be able to display our artwork there. And then we were attending other events, whether it was International Women's Day or the Concord Multicultural Festival. And we realized that there is a need for a group. So we started calling ourselves Namaste Artists CLT. Mm-hmm. And thanks to Charlotte is Creative, Queen City Nerve, we've been recognized. But we're just a collective of people, again, who like to be able to share our culture through the arts.
Through art.
And that's
so
where
cool, though. I mean, I did not know that. I knew about the guild, the guild, but I didn't know that. So I have people come in all the time, and they are looking for specific types of art, whether it's I would like to purchase something from someone who is Black or brown, or something that feels Asian, or I have these clients and I don't always know where to send them.
Thank you, Krisha.
Yes,
Thank you.
bring it together.
Yes.
See, this is also cultural connections.
It is
with Southpark Says with Krisha Chachra. So, but it's true. I mean, there are probably, and Shefalee's done an amazing job of really showcasing the artwork of the Indian community and the South Asian community. But I'm sure there are other organizations that dive deeper into cultural artwork pieces, cultural art pieces of different backgrounds, I would imagine.
I'm sure there are. We need to create that website of where to, where in Charlotte.
A good directory of what's available. But
nice
that's what we kind of labeled ourselves, not so much to stand apart, but to be able
identifier.
Identify.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
It's
this
important.
is what we're doing. And if there's opportunities, and again, we love to be able to, I go to schools, I go to the YWCA events, anywhere, call me, to share the arts. Because kids connect as well. When they see me speak, they're like, this lady came to my school and she looked Indian, but she sounded American. And I was like, because I am an American.
Can you believe it?
And I'm so
an
proud of that.
Yeah.
But I love to be able to share that. And then they take that piece of art home, or they take that little interactive and they take that memory home. And then when they come across another person that looks similar to me, they're like, oh, you must be just like that Indian lady who came to my school. And I hope that stays with them.
Yeah, and they learn the terms, I'm sure, like, oh, I know how to do, I've gotten mehndi before on my hands, the henna on my hands, or I know how to do a mandala, on the ground with the sand.
With Rangoli and mandala.
Yeah.
And Krisha, you grew up in that same generation. When I grew up in the 70s, I had mehndi on my hand. And after a few days when it fades, my friends were like, ew, what's that weird disease on your hand?
Oh, no.
And now the conversation has changed. You're like, oh, you have henna? Where'd you get that done? Can you do mine? I'd love it. But that changed because of education.
That's right.
And that's what our mothers did, right? And that's what we have to continue doing, is sharing the culture. And it's easier to do it when you're doing something interactive, or when you're sharing something. It's easier for children and adults to grasp it. So whether it's dance or a physical art thing, people can connect better.
And that's what art does. It connects us.
Yes.
It does.
That's what it does, and it opens up that conversation. That's a really lovely point.
Yeah.
My guests today are Judith Zehmke, who is the founder of Art House Charlotte, and Shefalee Patel, a community connector and founder of Namaste Artists CLT and Cultural Connections by Shefalee. So just in sitting here, you ladies have sort of made a connection.
Yeah.
And I wanted to ask you, Judith, are any of your artists that you showcase now art that reflects different cultures, or what are the sort of themes of the art that you showcase at Art House Charlotte?
Pretty much what we are doing at Art House Charlotte is bridging art and design. So I have had clients come in that were probably not in the right place. And they came in looking for one thing, and they were like, oh, this is, it's not necessarily a poignant place. Like, you're not going to stare at a painting and wonder what the meaning of life is, right?
Yeah.
You're there to incorporate art into your home into your collection that makes you feel something, right? Makes you have some sort of visceral reaction to it, but it also might match your wall color or whatever window coverings you have. So we're really bringing contemporary two-dimensional art, and it can be, we sell a lot of landscapes, florals, figures, abstracts, anything like that. Just people decorating their homes, really. And it's original work created by the majority of local artists. And it's, like I said, it's all original and none of it's been photographed for reproduction. So it's like a little bit of the artist's soul on every canvas, every
That's amazing.
work of paper.
I didn't really realize that. Maybe it didn't click that everything is original art.
Everything is original. I do not sell reproductions, and I tell all of my artists that if they want to sell reproductions, that's fine, but I won't take anything that has been photographed for reproduction. I don't want anything that is going to be mass produced. So it's all original. Even the gobs of, works on paper that I have in my print racks, it's all original. Yeah.
That's really
amazing.
nice.
And that's what you said, you have only original art in your house too.
Yeah, it's all original.
Yeah. So why do you think that's important? Why do you think it's important for people to have original art in their radius? Why do you think it's important to have like art in general? Like what does it do for the soul, the body? Like, what does it do for the space?
That's a great question. Yeah. So it's different for everybody. But if there's like you said earlier, whether it's a point of conversation, whether I walk by and I was like, it reminds me of a moment or an experience that I had, or it reminds me of a place or just a feeling, right?
That's the intangible. It's a feeling. So you said you were in Spain. I was in Argentina over the summer, and I went straight to the San Telmo market twice and bought some art. And it's at the framer now. Like, I can't wait. And I don't intend to keep it all. I'm going to sell some of it. But I also got a piece of art for each of my kids that was with me.
Oh, nice.
Because they can take that with them through their lives and remember the time that we went to Argentina.
Yeah.
So, a lot of times people will come into my office and they'll see something and it reminds them of the farm that they grew up on. Or that's the color of the sunsets at their place in Kiowa.
Yeah.
It's kind of what you connect with. And the fact that somebody, an actual human, created it, it was in their studio, right? Their hands were on it.
Yeah.
It was, it's like, it creates a feeling, which sounds so esoteric, but it creates a feeling when you get it into your space. And you can't replicate that. And you don't know what that's going to feel like until you get it in the space, which is why I let all of my clients take the work home for 2 days.
Oh, that's amazing.
Because it's going to look different and it's going to feel different in their space.
Yeah, so they can physically take the piece home, put it on their wall, see what people say about it, see how it makes them feel. You guys were both talking about feelings. And then just decide to purchase it or bring it back.
Exactly.
Wow. And how has that worked out well for you? Have you had any problems with that before?
I've had a couple of paintings that needed to have like the corners repainted. I make people sign a loan responsibility form when I can remember to do that. No, I haven't really come into any problems with it. And I have a good solid 75% conversion rate. So it behooves me to allow people to experience that feeling in their space.
Yeah.
And it's all about that, well, what's the point in spending money on original art? And it's a lot of the work that I have that is smaller or lower priced, it's not a PC thing to say, but I call it like my gateway. It's like the gateway drug, because they get it home and then they get it in their space and then they're like, oh, I get it now. And then they're back in a week.
It's really hard to quantify or to be able to put concrete numbers and say, this is what it's going to do to you. But when you see it, like you said, when it's in your home, you're like, oh. And then when maybe your neighbor notices, maybe your friend notices, they're like, is that new? What is that? Where is that from? And it becomes a point of like expansion.
Yeah, it's addictive.
It's addictive.
It really is. I agree with the whole, because as you both know, I'm a travel writer, and I agree with being able, the idea of being able to take home a piece of your experience when you travel and put it in your space. That's something that I really feel like I seek out local artists, especially the ones that are on the street, the street artists. Yeah, because they have a story that comes with their art too. And if you take the time to actually talk to them, you feel like you've really gotten that local insight. And then you're able to,
an artist
and then you've supported an artist, and you've taken that away.
Yeah.
So I really like the idea of taking pieces from places that you've been, or buying pieces that remind you of memories of your life or maybe where you want to go. That's a really powerful thing.
Yeah.
When we're talking about the visual arts.
Yeah, why take home a magnet when you can take home an original piece of work?
That's right. I know, magnets. And nothing like, I don't think they don't make like refrigerators the way they used to. They don't stick on the side.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. So the magnet has kind of lost its power in like, the household decor. But art lasts. Art lasts. And there's also something else I wanted to get your reaction on because, as you know, I just came back from Paris. My daughter had turned 10, and that was her big, wish. And that's a whole other discussion about young kids getting wishes to go overseas.
Yeah.
But
my kids did not catch that trend. They're older.
Well, I have one, and she was studying French. But the point is that, and I was telling Judith this earlier, she's been studying a little bit about French art in school. She was a fourth grader last year. And I remember having a teacher, a fourth grade art teacher, who taught us about the Impressionists. And so I told her, I said, this is not like a beach trip. This is a historic trip. We're going, to a place where a lot of history has happened. You're going to have to learn about some of the history. So I taught her a little bit about the Impressionist painters. You never know as parents, like what's going to stick. Mm-hmm. But we went into the D'Orsay and we got up to the Impressionist floor. And my daughter started looking around and she was like, oh my gosh, Mommy, oh my gosh. And I was like looking around thinking there was someone famous, on the fifth floor of the D'Orsay.
There were a lot of famous.
There were a lot of famous people, but the famous thing that she was pointing to was the Degas. She was like, there's the ballerinas from Edgar Degas. Yes. And she could rattle them off. Degas, Renoir, Cezanne, Monet, Van Gogh. And that brought a tear to my eye because that is the stuff that lasts.
Yes.
Right? Magnets don't last, but Van Goghs do.
They do.
The real connection happened. And hats off to you guys for that she knew those names because wherever she went to school and that she was exposed to it. But to walk in and be like, oh, I know these, I know that. I've seen this. Like in seeing it in a textbook and now seeing it in real life is amazing.
Yeah, and that
that's
visceral
powerful.
response. Yes, the visceral response to, oh my gosh, that's exciting enough to be excited about a painting.
Yeah. Oh, I cry in museums all the time.
Yeah.
Like I will see one of my favorite and I will just...
Why?
I don't know. I've been in Kansas City at the Nelson Atkins Museum and saw Franz Klein and I just started crying. Like, I have no idea. Like, my kids are like, what's wrong with you? I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
This is Franz Klein,
because it's something that you studied about or heard about, and then to see it, in real life.
Well, and they're, and this goes for the Impressionists, they were all ahead of their time, right? So you're seeing, like, this revolutionary work.
That's right. They were rebels.
That has stood the test of time,
I stand there and I wonder, I'm like, we just walk into like an art store and pick up paints and pick up brushes. They had to make their own paints. They had to make their own brushes. The canvases were not canvases. And to stand the test of time, to all the, with all the heat and the humidity and everything and that stuff is
and
still
the revolution.
And
revolution.
And a lot of them were panned. I mean, talk about Van Gogh. Like, he was just a joke.
Yeah.
Like, he was just...
That was what moved me the most, is to see his self-portrait and to think about the fact that he ended his life thinking he was a failure.
Yeah.
And here it is, like, over $100 million, like, being protected by all these guards.
Yeah, I saw some of his work down in Buenos Aires, too.
Yeah.
Right. And, I mean, just look at the worldwide effect and how people get so excited about a piece of art. So that's another question then. I mean, if that is what moves us, then what are we forgetting with, like, all this advent of all the stimuli we're getting from virtual reality, AI? I mean, is that replacing things like the picture, the self-portrait of Van Gogh?
I don't think so. But I think also appreciate, Charlotte, and I'm going to, a little plug here, is that like with Novant Hospital, with the YMCA, that they're starting to give space and place for artists to be able to display their work and share that, because sometimes you need that captive audience. Sometimes you need to, maybe your mom's not doing well and you're in the hospital and you walk out of the room and you just need to look at something and not to look at like random prints that mass-produced. Yes. Yeah. And so hats off to Novant Mint Hill. The hospital is covered in local artists, and we're going to do the same thing in the Ballantine Hospital, and they're doing it uptown. and with Shayna and what she's doing. It's amazing that they're giving space, that they realize that we just don't want to look at the same stuff and that we don't know what it's going to be at that moment. What is it going to be? A sunrise? Is it going to be a farm scene? Is it going to be an abstract piece that's going to excite me or motivate me or just kind of escape a little bit? Because you're right, we're spending too much time on this and what we're looking at, and our brains are getting impacted. And we're just seeing that within 10 years, that the impact, and what's going to happen in 50 years when the kids that are born with this.
I just watched Idiocracy yesterday for the first time, so
Oh gosh.
I'm not sure.
What are your thoughts?
It's pretty apropos. I mean, in a lot of ways, it was pretty scary. I think it is scary. But I think that, I'm starting to see a new generation of clients coming through my office. So I'm starting to
refreshing.
see, it is the late 20s, early 30s. And then I have a lot of clients my age who are bringing their kids with them and younger. So they're exposing their kids to the arts.
And maybe this is also helping bring awareness, right? Like it's like you said, the 20 years something, my kids are in that generation, my son and his girlfriend, and they're like, no, we want to have original art, right? And I push that on them, but they also are aware of it. And now they know the avenues, right? They might have, like in our parents' generation, we didn't know how to walk into a gallery and purchase a painting. Now we're like, check out their Instagram.
Maybe a flea market.
Yeah.
But you can find good stuff at flea markets too.
That's right, you
Can.
Yeah, that's right. So you're saying that, maybe the technology has allowed us to make the art more accessible.
Yes.
Where to go, where to look, but it's still important to actually go and show up, like you were mentioning.
Right. Yeah.
Well, and what I've seen in just this past week, I was working with a commercial client in Davidson, and she sent me a rendering of what AI told her needed to be in the space.
Oh.
And so I get a lot of that. Like, this is what AI generated for my space. And I'm like, that's a great starting point. But in none of the instances were they what I would have recommended.
Really?
Right?
Yeah.
So people are using it to help them, like plan a trip to Europe. How do I decorate my apartment? But I think in my situation, and probably in yours, that people are still seeking out, handmade.
Yeah.
Right? They just there's still an appreciation for it at this point.
Is that why you think you're still in business after 17 years, even though other galleries have popped up all around you?
I really don't know. I think that the price point is really,
Kicker.
it's difficult for people to match my prices. And I actually had a client ask me the other day, like, I don't get it. Like, you have this very hands-on approach and this very concierge type approach to selling art. How do you do it? What's in it for you? How do you make it work? Because the prices are really low, but I still feel like I'm getting really good service and help and education. The only answer that I have for him is just volume. And that's where my 30 artists come into play. So I'm moving as many pieces as I can, but I'm still trying to give every person that, that interaction, like that personal touch, and to actually help them. Like, I like helping people.
Tell them it's you. You are.
Yeah, you are the reason. You are
I don't
the
know
reason.
about that.
That's the magic.
You have the energy and obviously the desire and the passion. How many pieces do you think you move? A month, a year? What is your sort of metric?
I've never looked at it on a year. I'm moving about 100 pieces a month.
Really?
Wow.
And
you are selling 100 pieces a month,
We need
which
to
is
talk,
far
Judith.
more. Yeah, which is
I'm
far
so
more than most galleries. I mean, most galleries can't do that.
And most galleries don't have to because their price points are
So
significantly higher than mine, right? So that's where you get back to my business model, right? You break it down to the
But you're making more people
basics.
happy.
Well, and I really enjoy, I get to meet so many people. And I have clients who drive in from Statesville and Mount Airy and Charleston and the mountains. Like, I have people who are coming. I mean, last week I had a client from Hickory and then Morganton. Like, there are people who are coming, whether it's because of their designers, because I do work with a lot of designers too, or because they're Googling affordable art in Charlotte and I'm popping up.
That's the one. Yeah, and I'm really surprised. I mean, good for you. It's a big testament to the fact that you have mastered your model, because I'm sure there have been a lot of imitators throughout the years too.
There have been a lot of people who have attempted to do what I am doing. And somebody asked me the other day why I thought, what was the secret sauce? And I really think that it's because I started 17 years ago. Charlotte was still not that big. You saw the same people everywhere you went, like at the Harris Theater, at the Y, at the concerts, at the football games. Like, you just saw, it just was a big town. And so when I started doing it, and I made all of my connections, and those people went out and made their connections,
It's word of
kind
mouth.
of, just the way that word of mouth
powerful.
is how it's been for me. And it has been a long slog, right? It has been a hustle for 17 years, but I do really enjoy being able to offer people original art for everyone, not just for people who can afford to go into galleries, but for everyone. Yeah.
And you've been so consistent about that. And I think that's what works. Both of you have been so consistent in your, whatever your art is, your art niche, so to speak. And people know you for what you represent, right? I mean, when we want to talk about cultural connections, we talk to Shefalee. When we want like a good price point original art, we try to get, a meeting or a time with Judith. And so I think that is a really big testament to, what you put your heart and time and energy toward. But with that being said, though, are there barriers to entry now? I mean, you came 17 years ago and started this. 25 years for you, Shefalee. I mean, is it harder now as an artist who wants to start something, to break into the, scene?
I don't think it's harder. I think with anything, it's work, time, effort. It's the energy that you put in. And it's you, right? When someone's buying a piece of work from you, they're not just buying that piece of work. They're buying your story and sharing that story. We all know like storytelling is so important, but sharing that story, being present, being out there. Because I want to buy something from that lady who I met at da-da-da-da-da. They are just as excited about your story, but you have to be able to be out there and know how to tell your story. So that's, I think, equally as important.
And you've just told it on TEDx. I heard that.
I
saw that you were
Thank
one of the speakers this year.
Yes, that
Tell
was
us a little bit about that.
That was a huge moment for me. It was a lot of, I think I lost a lot of hair in the
Stressful.
It was very stressful. It was the best experience. That whole team with Kara and all the speaker coaches that we had, but I'm glad I did it. I got to tell a bit about my story, my background. I'm actually a food scientist by profession.
Oh, wow.
And then I've always wanted to be an artist, but, as an immigrant parent, or a lot of parents like, art is good, but that's
As
a
a
hobby.
And we all have found a way. Our art has found a way.
Yeah. And so I was like, okay. And then I became a food science engineer. I graduated. I worked for a pet food company, for a fragrance company, for a marketing research company. And then I always did art was my thing. And then I think 2009, I entered in a show, my first time ever. I didn't even know, should I frame? What is gallery wrapped? I didn't understand the different concepts, and actually placed first place in that show. And that's kind of escalated. And I've gotten involved with the Festival of India, I just randomly bumped into people and you should come to our guild meeting. And I was like, okay. And I came to a meeting and I became a member. I got on the board and they're like, congratulations, you're president now. And I was like, thank you, Mary. Thank you for making that happen. But it was nice to be able to have a place where your art and your creativity is kind of celebrated. And that was the best part of joining these groups. But yeah, and that's kind of my story. And my kids are, and it's funny, after 2022 with COVID, the company that I worked for at the time, they did so well, they decided to close our physical offices. And I cried. I was like, I love this job. I'd been there 17 years. We did focus groups. It was so much fun. And at the same time, I got appointed for the City of Charlotte Arts and Culture Advisory Board to help them plan their new culture plan of how we're going to divvy up this money that the city was going to offer into the creative realm. I got involved more with the Guild. I'm currently on the Charlotte Secondary School, also the Charlotte Center for the Arts, thanks to Krisha, introduced to them. They're hoping to build a performing arts center here in Charlotte. And then I'm also with the YMCA and
tired just listening to her.
Yeah, I know.
How do you do all that?
I love it. This has become my
energy.
full time.
Yeah.
My full time.
Wow.
But I will tell anybody and everybody, if you need help, reach out to us. Reach out to me. I'm there. What can I do to help celebrate, accelerate, cheerlead for the community? Because I think if we all win, the quote is, all ships rise, right? We can all win together and make this place. I feel like I quote, sell Charlotte every day. Because I tell my cousins, I've had 2 cousins that have moved to Charlotte because I was like, you guys, the weather's great. The people are great. We have sports teams, we've got museums, we've got everything here. So, but when you go to other countries, they're like, where do you live? And it's like, Charlotte. They're like,
Where?
I had to literally say halfway between Washington, D.C. and Atlanta. And that's where they kind of figure it out. They're like, because we're not L.A., New York, Houston. But I think we have the best of everything, and everybody's accessible, but still big enough, but yet still small enough that we can kind of all network and continue to grow together.
I love that. I love that. Both of you have exuded so much passion and energy and love for what you're doing for uplifting the arts and being part of not only celebrating artists, but allowing other people to learn more about the art that is around us. And that's a really wonderful thing. We're going to wrap up here, but is there anything else that you want to say in terms of taking away a message for all of you who are listening and learning about the arts? Is there anything that you want to say to them?
Just keep going.
Keep going.
Like, again, show up, share, and showcase who you are. I think there's an opportunity for everybody. It's just a matter of, you can't just be in your house and be like, oh, I didn't get an opportunity. No, you need to
you got to
be
reach
out
out.
there.
You have to get your work in front of people. You have to, I always encourage people to, get a basic website, get an Etsy account, make sure you have a solid Instagram and or Facebook, which Facebook seems so irrelevant at the moment.
Yeah.
But
Gosh, I remember when that was the hot thing.
it was so hot for so long. But and there's so many opportunities. There's Front Porch Sundays, and there's opportunities all around town to showcase your wares if you would like. And
that's right. Festivals every weekend.
There are festivals. There's juried shows. There's Charlotte Art League. There's so many organizations that can help for artists, and then for people looking for art. There's no shortage of art to find and purchase in Charlotte. It's just you gotta look for it.
Yeah. You got to keep your eyes open. And we have Festival of India coming up. You briefly mentioned that.
Yeah, September 20th, Uptown, and September 21st will be the Valentine Backyard.
Okay.
12 to 6 on September 20th. I'll be out there. I'll be doing a free dance workshop
Nice.
around 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So everybody come on out and enjoy. It's a great way to experience. There'll be food and vendors and performances all day.
Right.
And then Sunday, the same thing. We'll be in the Valentine Backyard.
Okay. And that's the weekend of September 20th.
20th and 21st.
21st,
Yes.
that's
And September 28th is a pop-up market for the Guild of Charlotte Artists. Over 70 artists will be on the lawn at the Mint Museum on Randolph Road.
Oh yeah.
So we'll be in that huge tent
Oh,
Yeah,
on
where they
Sunday.
set up the Potters. Okay.
Yes, the Potters Market is Friday and Saturday, and then the Guild is on Sunday.
Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah, in that same
Wow.
space.
So it looks like August was our Southpark Magazine's art issue, but September is when it's really happening.
It's
Well,
happening.
that's normally when Festival in the Park is too.
Correct.
Right,
Yes.
that's right.
Yes.
Festival in the Park, which is a great display of local artists
It is.
and
Yes.
from all over
One
too.
of the longest traditions, over 60 years of
Over 60
Festival in the
years.
Park. Yeah.
Yeah, so there's a lot of art information and festivals like coming up, and be on the lookout. So, but I really appreciate what both of you ladies
Thank
do,
you.
and thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me.
Thank you.
And if you want to learn more about these two wonderful artists and art advocates, please do pick up a copy of Southpark Magazine's August issue, 2025. You can also look at our stories and read them online on southparkmagazine.com. Thanks so much for listening and being with us today.